Right, and this video is about how to basically create the subjunctive, how to form it, how to formulate it. So we'll just dig straight away into this. So if I take my whiteboard, so here again, remember this is for regular verbs. So as always, they're always going to be irregular verbs just because why not? Okay, it's French. Like French love irregular. So remember, in the regular verbs, we have the ER, the IR, and the RE verbs. To create the subjunctive, we are going here to need the they form of the present tense. Okay, so remember when we did the imperfect, we did a bit that. We used the new form of the present tense. Here, for the subjunctive, we're using the they form of the present, okay, of the normal present, the present tense here. And you're going to remove the ENT ending, because remember there's always an ENT ending, so you remove that, and you add the normal subjunctive endings, which are E, ES, E, IONS, IEZ, and ENT. Right. If you have been paying attention to all the tenses before and you know your endings by heart, you will notice two things. First of all, and I'm going to change colors for that. First of all, you'll notice that this plus this is very similar to the endings of the present tense, the normal present tense, okay? So endings of present for the ER verb. So for example, remember the present tense for eating, I eat was je mange. And if I'm using it in the subjunctive, il faut que tu manges, like it is necessary for you that you eat. Here, il faut que je mange. Here, that will be the same, okay? Even though this one is the present. And this one is the subjunctive. Okay, first thing to note, and then here, second thing to note is that there's two here. No, that's in blue. Oh, is it? There we are. There's two here, are very similar to the endings of the imperfect. So if you're saying in the imperfect, we used to eat, would say nous mangions, okay? We used to eat. In the lounge every day, nous mangions. Right, but then if you're saying it is necessary for us that we eat, or for us to eat, you'd say il faut que nous mangions. Okay, and here again, it is exactly the same verb in the in the imperfect. Imperfect. And subjunctive. Okay, so what you need to be aware of, I can't write at the end. Right, the reason why you need to be aware of this is because you're going to be confused, okay? You're going to, sometimes you're going to create your subjunctive and you're going to be like, it can't be it's just a present. How do I distinguish from both? And then you'll start being confused, you start doubting yourself. Don't, okay? It is normal that most of the time, your present and your subjunctive look the same. The reason is that approximately 70% of the French verbs finish in ER. That means that you could be confused with between the subjunctive and 70% of the French verbs in the present tense. You have 70% of chances to get confused. Thing is, it's normal, okay? Don't how can I say that? Like, it is normal if it looks the same. It is normal if you have the same ending. Don't start panicking. It's normal, okay? It's the same for the ending for nu and vu. If it looks like the imperfect, it is normal. That's the aim, and it's okay. How do you recognize them? That's going to be your next question. I can already see the question blooming in your head. How are you going to recognize whether it's the subjunctive or the present? The answer is with the context, okay? If your sentence, if you're doing your reading and the sentence is Je joue tous les matins, meaning oh, that's wrong, sorry, that's an S. I play every morning, right? Okay, I play every morning. And then if you have a sentence that says, il est nécessaire que je joue tous les matins. Here, you know that the subjunctive only comes after a structure like this with a que. Okay, if there is no que, there's probably some exceptions to that, but most of the time, 90% of the time, if there's no que, then you wouldn't have the subjunctive. Okay, and to be honest, for translation purpose, it doesn't really change that much because the subjunctive doesn't exist in English. Okay, so if you translate je joue tous les matins, I play every morning, and the second sentence, il est nécessaire que je joue tous les matins, it is necessary that I play every morning, in English doesn't change anything at all. Your translation is going to be exactly the same just because the subjunctive does not exist in English. However, if you wanted to create that sentence, if you wanted to write it down, to use the subjunctive, then that would look really, really good. And the good thing here is that most of the time you'll just write it in, I mean, except if it's the nu and vu, of course, okay? But for the rest, you just write it in the present tense, and the examiner will never know if you actually knew how to form your subjunctive or if you just wrote it in the present, okay? Same for the speaking, that's a really cool thing as well, because if you say il est nécessaire que je joue tous les matins, you could have been getting it wrong in your head, but it sounds right, so it doesn't really matter. And that's one of the good things in the subjunctive, is the fact that it's very similar to another tense makes it more difficult to get it wrong. And that's why most of the time when French people don't do it correctly, it goes unnoticed, which is cool. The only reason why sometimes it does get noticed is when the verbs are irregular. So I'm just going to do another video because I think this one was quite long already, and just so you can pause it, go and get a cup of tea and come back after. So do that, and the next video is on the irregular verbs to form, so the irregular verbs in the subjunctive. See you soon.